Hi all, this is Pixelcave, and in this video we answer more than 100 questions about Dune Awakening. Now, since there is a lot of ground to cover, we selected the most frequently asked questions for various topics of the game, from servers to professions, vehicles, building, PvP and more. And while we hope to answer some of the questions you might have, feel free to use our timestamps to jump to any topics you are particularly interested in. By the way, we have a lot more things Dune coming your way, so make sure to subscribe to our channel. And if you would like to support us, please consider becoming a member of our channel or simply leave a comment or give us a thumbs up. Now, let's get started. What is Dune Awakening? It's an online open-world survival game with MMO elements. When is the game's release date? The official release date for Dune Awakening is 10th of June. Or 5th of June for those who pre-ordered the Deluxe or Ultimate Edition. Does the game have pre-orders? Yes, there's a Standard, Deluxe and Ultimate Edition including various pre-order bonuses. On which platforms can I play the game? On PC via Steam, with PlayStation and Xbox being in development. Will there be crossplay? Nothing has been confirmed or ruled out as of yet. Can I play this game with my friends? Yes, as long as you play on a server, or as the game calls it, Siege, of the same world. Can I play the game solo? Yes, you can play the majority of the game solo. Is it a PvE or PvP game? Both. The game's main map, where you progress your character, the story and can build a permanent base, is primarily PvE, and there's also a massive PvP endgame map called the Deep Desert. Will the game have a subscription model? No, you only have to buy the game to play it. Will there be DLCs? Yes, 4 DLCs have been announced, and it was said that they plan to have a DLC out every 3 to 4 months. Will DLCs expand on levels or item tiers? No, DLCs will only offer cosmetics or content that is on the same tier as the base game. What's included in the game's Season Pass? The Season Pass includes the first 4 DLCs for the game, with the first one being available at launch and the following 3 releasing every 3 to 4 months. Will there be an in-game store? No, there will be no in-game store of any kind. Will there be a Battle Pass? No, there will be no Battle Pass. Will there be full controller support? Yes, the game features full controller support. Is there a photo mode in game? There's no dedicated photo mode yet, but you can remove the interface by pressing F6. Will there be mods and a Steam workshop? No, the game won't support modding, at least for now. Can you have dedicated or private servers? No, but the developers have said they might consider it post-launch. However, due to the complex server structure of the game, it's unclear if or when it will happen. Can I play offline? No, Dune Awakening is an online-only game. Can I change servers? No, but you can visit other players as long as they share the same server world as you. How many maps does the game have? The game launches with 4 maps. The map where you begin and progress your character, Haga Basin, 2 social hubs, Arakeen and Harkov Village, as well as a massive PvP endgame map, the Deep Desert. How big is Haga Basin? The size of Haga Basin is around 64 square kilometers. This is roughly the same size as the entire map of Funcom's other survival game, Conan Exiles. How big is the Deep Desert? The Deep Desert is roughly 9 times the size of the Haga Basin map. It's massive, but also mostly sand with a limited number of points of interest that change on a weekly basis. How many characters can I create? You can create 1 character per server world, meaning you can only have alts on other server worlds. How does leveling work? You gain XP from various activities, like defeating enemies, exploring, crafting, completing contracts and so on. Every time you level, you gain skill points, as well as intel points which you can spend in your research tree for new crafting schematics. How many levels are there? There are 200 levels. Is character progression account-wide? No. Every time you start a new character, you will have to level and unlock everything again. The exception will be items or skins you have unlocked via DLC, pre-order bonuses and similar. How many classes are there? The game launches with 5 professions: Bene Gesserit, Trooper, Mentat, Swordmaster and Planetologist. Can male characters unlock the Bene Gesserit profession? Yes, they can. Am I limited to one profession? No, you can unlock all professions, but you can't max out all the skill trees. Can I combine skills from different professions? Yes, you can mix and match skills from all professions. What type of skills are there? There are 3 types of skills. Abilities, which require activation, techniques that take effect under certain circumstances, and passives that give permanent bonuses. How many skills can I have equipped? You can equip 3 abilities and 3 techniques, and can switch them out freely as long as they aren't on a cooldown. Can I respec my skills? Yes, you can respec your skills. Currently there is no cost, but there is a cooldown of 48 hours until you can respec again. Does the Bene Gesserit profession have voice abilities? Yes, there's a dedicated tree for voice skills. How many factions are there? The game launches with 2 factions, House Atreides and House Harkonnen. Will more factions be added? The developers have confirmed that more factions are planned and a 3rd faction should be added not too long after launch. Can players of different factions play together? Yes, you don't need to be of the same faction in order to play together. Can a guild have players from different factions? Yes, as long as the guild hasn't aligned itself with one of the houses. Once a guild is either Atreides or Harkonnen, they can only have members of that faction or members without faction alignment. Can I change faction? Yes, you can betray your faction, but you can only do so once, at least for now. What's the maximum group size? The max group size is 4 players. What's the maximum guild size? A guild can have up to 32 members. Does a guild require a minimum number of members? A guild can be created with as little as 1 player, so if you want to solo and still participate in the Landsraad, you can create your own guild. Is there guild housing? No, but you can create a base and give guilders permission to share the space, storage, workstations and so on. Can you customize guild emblems? No, not for now. Are there mounts or vehicles in game? Yes, there are ground and air vehicles of different tiers. What vehicles are there in game? There are various tiers of sandbikes, buggies, ornithopters and a sandcrawler for spice harvesting. How many vehicles can I have? There's a personal limit of 10, but other players can also give you permission to use their vehicles. Can I travel together with my friends in vehicles? Yes, some vehicles have passenger seats. Do vehicles have functionalities? Yes, depending on the vehicle, you can add modules for mining, scanning, speed increase, storage and a rocket launcher at higher tiers. Are there fast travel options? At trade posts, you can find pilots that can offer you passage to other discovered trade posts or select locations in exchange for a fee, like for example the social hubs. Other than that, ornithopters, once you can access or craft them, will be your best friends when it comes to traveling greater distances or to other maps. Do items lose durability? Yes, armor, weapons, tools and vehicles lose durability when used or damaged. How does item repair work? You can repair items and vehicles multiple times, but max durability will decrease every time until the item or vehicle parts have to be replaced. Nothing lasts forever. Are there specialized crafting skills? No, every player can learn how to craft every item and item tier. The only exception are unique crafting schematics, which have to be found or alternatively can be traded or purchased via the auction house. What are unique crafting schematics? Unique items are found as crafting schematics, which usually give you the option to craft the item once or in limited quantities. However, most schematics, at least those from the PvE map, can be reacquired by finding them again. Where can I find unique crafting schematics? Unique crafting schematics are primarily found in points of interest like testing stations or large shipwrecks, but can also be found in some enemy camps, random loot locations and select few at traders or as rewards from completing contracts. What item and crafting tiers are there in game? There are 7 tiers for now. Salvaged items: copper, iron, steel, aluminium, duraluminum and plastanium. Can you craft from storage? Yes, as long as you have the resources in your storage, you can freely craft them at any workstation. This also applies to building, so no need to carry materials around with you. What about weapon variety? There are various firearms from pistols to rifles, SMGs and disruptors, plus several different bladed weapons, Holtzman shields and a range of skills that complement your playstyle in combat. Are there lasguns in game? Yes, however there is a built-in safety mechanic that prevents lasguns from being fired at shielded players. Are there different armor classes? The game has light and heavy armor sets, as well as still suits and radiation suits, with the latter to be used in specific areas only. Can I customize my gear? Yes, you can customize your armor, weapons and vehicles with color swatches and skins. Are there quests? Yes, the game has contracts, which is the equivalent of quests, as well as a journey system that's comparable to completing a series of quest lines. Can all contracts be done solo? Yes, it was said that all contracts can be done solo. Are there instance dungeons? No, the game has dungeon-like points of interest, but they are not instanced and not comparable with traditional dungeons. If the points of interest are not instanced, how long does it take for NPCs and loot to respawn? In PvE areas, loot respawns around every 45 minutes, and NPCs usually between 5 to 10 minutes, while the PvP shipwrecks in Haga Basin have a loot respawn timer of about 20 minutes. Separate rules apply to the Deep Desert PvP map. Is loot shared or individual? In PvE areas, players can loot every loot container or bodies individually, and the loot might vary from player to player. In PvP areas, only one player can loot containers and bodies. Are there PvE raids? No, there are no raids, neither in dungeons nor in the open world. Are there world bosses? No, the game doesn't have world bosses, except for the Sandworms, but you can neither fight nor kill them. How many bases can I build? You can build up to 3 bases. Are there building restrictions? Yes, there are certain areas that are restricted, like for instance those in close proximity of NPC camps, trade posts and similar. And while you can build on the open sands, you really shouldn't, as the sandworm will snack on and demolish your base in no time. Is there a base decay system? Yes, sandstorms deal damage to unprotected buildings. To protect your buildings, you need to keep generators powered with fuel. Additionally, there's a taxation system for advanced buildings. How long can I keep my base shields powered if I'm offline? If you need a longer break, you can keep your generators fueled up for around 3 weeks as to keep your base shield active. How often do I need to pay taxes? Currently you are expected to pay taxes every 2 weeks, and you can pay them with Solaris at one of the social hubs. If you don't pay, you have roughly 1 week before the shields of your base will be forcefully powered down. What are advanced buildings? Advanced buildings can only be built beyond the starter area and require an advanced subfief. They have a bigger land claim radius of about 10 by 10 versus the regular subfief that only can claim a radius of 5 by 5. Furthermore, advanced subfiefs will allow for several base expansions. Is there a building piece limit? Yes, there are various limits that restrict how many building pieces, workstations, placeables, storage and lights you can have per base. You can see the current number of items and the corresponding limit when interacting with your subfief. How can I expand an advanced building and by how much? You can expand your base with a maximum of 10 staking units, 5 horizontally and 5 vertically. And extended land claims also increase your building limits. How many building sets are there? There are 2 tiers of the Chome building set and 1 building set per faction. Additionally, the Ultimate Pre-Order edition of the game includes 1 building set with a limited number of building pieces. Is there a reason to build with higher tier building sets? Yes and no. Higher tier building sets have more durability and most importantly feature more building pieces and more intricate designs. Can building pieces be moved? No, but if you destroy anything you have built, you always get all resources back, so it's easy to rebuild. What can be moved, however, are workstations and placeables, and that includes storage containers or workstations with all of their content. Can I build a base together with my friend or friends? Yes, while only one player will be the owner of the base and sub-thief, you can make other players co-owners in the permission system, so they can build a base together with you. Can you create a blueprint copy of any building? No, you need to have owner or co-owner rights in order to create a blueprint copy. Is a building blueprint a copy of the entire building and its contents? No, a building blueprint only copies the actual structure of a base and not anything that's been built inside of it. Can you make and sell multiple blueprint copies of a building? Yes, to make multiple blueprint copies of the same building, you simply require multiple Solido replicator tools to store a copy. These can then be used by yourself, traded with other players or sold at the Chome Exchange. What are the main environmental threats when it comes to survival? The biggest threats are heat, sandstorms, sandworms, quicksand and radiation. Can you harvest blood from enemies? Yes, you can harvest blood and convert it to water. And if you like, you can even drink it if you are really short on water. What happens when you die? If you die in PvE, you drop part of your resources and all of your spice, currency and schematics you carry. Furthermore, your gear will lose durability. If you die to the sandworm, you lose everything, your gear and all of your inventory. Dying in PvP is similar to dying in PvE, with the only difference being that you drop all of your resources. However, as in PvE, you won't lose gear or equipment. Can I recover my items upon death? Yes, if you find your death marker in time, you can recover your items. The exception are items lost to the sandworm, and in PvP, other players can also pick up your dropped items. Can you revive other players? No, not when they have died, but you can revive yourself or other players when they are in a down state. Can I avoid PvP? Yes, except for a select few of your journey quests and some crafting materials, you don't need to enter PvP areas, but you will miss out on endgame activities. Is there full loot in PvP? Generally no. The only exception is when a specific Landsraad decree is in effect for a given week, but this only applies to the deep desert. What about base raids? There are no classic base raids. As long as a base is protected by shields, even in the PvP deep desert, it can't be raided. However, there's a 5-minute window after a sandstorm hits in the deep desert, when shields are automatically powered down. What is the Coriolis Storm? The Coriolis Storm is a massive and super destructive sandstorm that occurs weekly. When this happens, every player-made structure on the deep desert PvP map will be wiped, and points of interest will be reshuffled from a random pool of options and locations. Resource nodes across the deep desert as well as on the Haga Basin map will also change locations. Is there friendly fire in PvP? Yes and no. There's no friendly fire in groups except for anything that does AoE damage or if you use AoE crowd control skills. These skills can still negatively affect your group members. And while not 100% confirmed, it was said in one of the latest dev streams that friendly fire would likely still be a thing between guild members who are not grouped up in PvP. Can you damage people of your own faction? Yes, in PvP zones you can damage any player that isn't in your group, even those who are of the same faction. What is the Landsraad? The Landsraad is Dune Awakening's political system and part of the game's endgame. Can anyone participate in the Landsraad? Only players that are part of faction-aligned guilds can participate in the weekly Landsraad objectives. What's the goal of the Landsraad? Participating in weekly Landsraad objectives allows guilds to gain voting powers for weekly, server worldwide conditions or bonuses. Are the weekly Landsraad objectives PvP only? No, Landsraad objectives can be achieved by completing both PvE and PvP related tasks. These tasks can require you to deliver resources, crafted items, or in the case of PvP, hold control points in the deep desert for a set time. Furthermore, objectives change on a weekly basis. Who benefits from the Landsraad? Weekly server worldwide conditions or bonuses are unlocked for the entire winning faction. Additionally, there are personal rewards that are based on the individual participation of each player. Will you meet the Fremen in-game? This is for you to find out, as you are sent on a mission to find them. Is there a story in-game? Yes, the game launches with 2 story acts that can be followed and completed by following your journey. Can you encounter characters from the books and movies in-game? There are some familiar faces, yes. However, the game explores an alternative timeline where Paul was never born. The Atreides and Harkonnen are at war and the Fremen are missing. Is the game roleplay friendly? The game's setting and lore foundation, faction system, customization options, permission system, player buildings, social hubs, and the ability to play in groups and guilds are all roleplay friendly features. Is there a voice chat in game? Yes, there is proximity voice chat. It's disabled by default and can be changed in the settings. Are there emotes? Yes, there are a number of emotes players can use, including one that depends on the player's chosen homeworld upon character creation. Are there traders or merchants that sell goods? Yes, there are various traders in-game that sell different goods, including faction traders. Most traders can be found at the social hubs. Is there an auction house in-game? Yes, it's called the Chome Exchange and you can find it at the game's social hubs. Is there a banking game? Yes, you can deposit Solaris, the game's currency, and items at the banks you can find at the social hubs. What are spice blows? Spice blows are massive eruptions of spice that happen on the open sands in Haga Basin as well as in the deep desert. They can be seen and heard from far away and are an indication where you can find spice fields for harvesting. Just make sure to not get caught in a blow, as it's deadly. Can you consume spice? Yes, there are spice consumables in-game, which are also required to use a spice-related game mechanic. How does the spice mechanic work? Once you have progressed with your journey to a certain point, you will unlock the ability to enter a spice prescient state when consuming enough spice. This will unlock your third ability slot and if activated lets you temporarily enter a heightened combat mode. Are there many sandworms in-game? Yes, there are multiple sandworms that roam the PvE map, as well as the deep desert. In the deep desert you can also encounter an even bigger version of the sandworm, namely the ringworm. Can you kill the sandworms? No, and we suggest not to try it. Can you ride the sandworms? No, but the developers have said they might consider it in the future. Can you sandwalk? No, unfortunately not. Can players summon a sandworm? No, but you can certainly attract them to your location by running or driving on the open sands. Later in game you will also be able to craft a thumper to attract a sandworm to specific locations, ideally as a distraction. I heard there are radio channels in game, is that true? Yes, the game features several radio stations and broadcast channels you can tune into. It was even announced that you can listen to the original soundtracks from the classic Dune and Dune 2 video games from 1992. Did Hans Zimmer compose the soundtrack for Dune Awakening? No, the game's soundtrack was composed by Knut Avenstrup Haugen, with Funcom's audio director being Arild Iversen. The soundtrack was recorded with a live orchestra at the legendary Air Lyndhurst studio in London. Can you purchase the game's soundtrack? Yes, the soundtrack is included with the Ultimate Edition pre-orders and can be purchased separately when the game launches. Are there pets in game? No, not as far as we know of, but there is a Muad'Dib terrarium included with the pre-orders of the game, so there might be other placeables that have pet-like creatures you can add to your base. At least we hope they will add more over time. Is there an auto run or walk option? Unfortunately, there hasn't been one in the preview builds we have had access to, so for now the answer is no, unless it gets added for or post-launch. Can sprint be toggled and does it consume stamina? There are options to toggle sprint or halt to sprint, and no, sprint does not consume stamina. You can effectively sprint forever if you want to. However, climbing, using stamina-reliant abilities, and dehydration consume or affect stamina usage. Will there be Twitch drops? Yes, the developers teased Twitch drops for the game, and that these could likely be related to building pieces and placeables. And that's it for our mega FAQ about Dune Awakening. We hope we could answer at least some of your questions and you found this video helpful. As always, if you like to see more content from us and want to support our channel, please consider giving us a thumbs up, leave a comment, subscribe or become a member of our channel.